I totally lost my whole train of thought. Oh my gosh. It's Tuesday to raining. This week we are talking all about home parties. So if you guys are interested in looking for new ways to do home parties, in trying out new home parties, because maybe you're like me and you don't do a whole lot of home parties yet, but you want to begin doing them, this is the video for you. And especially for those of you who are just joining, fantastic ideas will happen here. So get ready, get set, let's go. Hey guys, it's Jackie. I am so glad that you guys are here this week because we are talking about something that is very exciting, and in the world of Scentsy, we tend to get a lot excited about it, and it happens to be home parties. I, for one, am a firm believer that every single independent Scentsy consultant has a certain method to their business. Me, for example, my method, because of my work schedule, my husband's work schedule, and the chaos of everything going on with just life, and my availability is very low, and my customer base is all mostly out of state and not local to me. For all those reasons and some more, that's why the majority of my business is all done via social media or online parties or even on the go parties. And that's just because it's unique to me. And that's what is the secret sauce for my Scentsy business. The beautiful thing with Scentsy is that every single person is gonna find their own special recipe to working their business. I know lots of consultants who just heavily rely on events or fundraisers all throughout the year, and that's what really drives their business. And the rest of the time is usually like follow-up orders or, you know, maybe a host here or there kind of thing, but they really focus on those bigger events, right? I have other friends who are consultants who they do a ton of home parties. I'm talking they do at least 5 to 8 home parties every single month, and that's fantastic. So a lot of their business revolves around home parties. I also know a good handful of consultants who are kind of like me, and they work solely on social media or out of state. And so I think that when we kind of combine all of these different ways, when you're watching videos like mine, when you're watching other consultants out there, when you're watching the Scentsy training videos that are on our training center, you're gonna see lots of different ways that people work their businesses. And the beauty of all of this is that you can literally pick and piece together all the things that are gonna work for you around your time schedule, around your family, if you work outside the home, if your spouse works outside the home, kids' activities, etc., etc., etc. When I talk about being your brand, you are your brand when it comes to Scentsy. You want people, when they think of Scentsy, to think of you, right? You are their Scentsy consultant. So you want to be the person that they think of the most. We're also gonna talk about the concept of yet. If you guys attended Scentsy Family Reunion this past July in 2017, then of course you have heard Heidi's keynote speech, which was all focused around yet. And if you haven't, I believe there's probably some YouTube videos out there with coverage of it as well. So I'm not gonna say that just because my business really works for me with doing social media and long distance parties and things like that, you know, because I don't really do a whole lot of home parties, that doesn't mean I'll never do home parties. I don't do a whole lot of home parties yet. However, that doesn't mean that going into 2018, my business could totally shift. You guys have heard me talking about hitting the reset button, right? That's kind of when you take a step back and you reevaluate things. What's working, what's not working, what could you improve? What can you get rid of that just isn't producing any results? So by being able to take those steps back, sometimes we're able to find that there are different ways to do things that will help us work our business either more efficiently or get better sales or have better turnaround, things like this, right? So just because I'm not doing them a whole lot yet doesn't mean that I may not in the future. And also, for those of you out there who are my business builders and you guys are truly working your Scentsy as a business and you're wanting to turn it into a true business, then you guys are starting to build teams. And remember how I talked about how everybody's business works a little bit different because it revolves around them, right? And their schedule, and it's very unique to each person. Just because I work my business and it works for me this way doesn't mean that every single team member I have works it the same way as me, okay? They may have their own method to success by either maybe doing a bunch of home parties every month, or maybe they do a great combination of home parties and fundraisers, events, and online parties. That's like the true trifecta, right? That's what we all really aim for. We need to, as leaders, and especially those of us who are business builders, we need to have certain things in our tool belt, because again, just because I'm not doing it doesn't mean that my team members aren't doing it. So when they're needing assistance, or they have questions, or they want more ideas, I need to be able to have those resources available. And so it's good to just kind of be up to speed with all the different ways that your Scentsy business can be run. Now next week, if you guys aren't yet subscribed, please make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, because next week we are going into the follow-up portion of your Scentsy business. So we're really going to be digging down into follow-ups, and a lot of those follow-ups are going to come from home parties. Some are just going to come from any and all parties that you do.
Home parties!
Let me tell you, when I first started, home parties really intimidated me, and I'm not gonna lie, they totally intimidated me because I thought that I had to have like this whole script and I had to have these things ready, and I needed to be able to answer any question that my guest brought up, right? And did I need to make sure that I brought everything? And what if I didn't have enough of this? And oh my gosh, what if I don't have any recruiting packets? Or what if somebody asked me about booking another party? What all do I need to bring for that? I had panic and fear and anxiety. And trust me, from experience, if anybody is going to overthink something or stress about something, it's me. So I totally did, and there's no reason to do that, because honestly, I have found that over the years, the best way to really prepare myself for a home party is to just go to the home party. I know that might sound simple and kind of silly, but it's honestly true. If you walk in there with like a script verbatim that you're going to be reading from, then it is going to sound like you are reading from a script, and that's not what people are going to relate to. They're going to relate to you, and maybe you forget to talk about something. It's okay. It's okay. I don't want you guys to be putting pressure on yourselves, because honestly, there's some really great tips that we're going to talk about. There's other great tips out there. Trust me, I am not the only one, and I am not the keeper of all the tips. The way that we learn and the way that we develop and we grow in our business is by having the instances where oops, I forgot to do that. Or, oh my gosh, I can't believe I went to that home party and I didn't take X, Y, and Z. That way, when you go to your next home party, you're gonna remember X, Y, and Z, and you're gonna be prepared. And every single time you do a home party, you're gonna get a little bit more comfortable, and a little bit more comfortable, and a little bit more comfortable. And trust me, there is no reason to put stress on yourself. Because those people that are there for that party, why are they there? Well, for one, they're there because a friend of theirs invited them. For another, they're there because they're probably pretty interested in Scentsy. And if they're not yet interested in Scentsy, they're going to be once they smell it and see it and hear you talk about it, okay? So it's a fun atmosphere. There's no stress to be involved. And you can truly just really relate better. I use the catalog, and again, I kind of do a catalog walk, right? So I will kind of hold this with me, or my copy of the catalog, just kind of go through. I might talk about the different warmers, and then I'm gonna get in, I'm gonna talk about diffusers, you know? It just kind of prompts me, look at the buddies, I need to talk about the buddies. It's just kind of like my cheat sheet at remembering, oh yeah, I gotta talk about that, and making sure that when I'm talking about the body care line, that I'm kind of going over all the different things of the clean line and the body line, because I don't want to forget anything, right? So that is my guide, okay? What I do is every single folder gets a product list and a pen, and then of course the flyers, and I usually will give a sample of whatever the scent of the month is too, right? So they kind of get like this little folder goodie bag from me. No one gets a catalog at my parties. No one. I get the catalog, right? That's my kind of like my teacher's manual, so to speak, okay? That's my guide. What I do as I'm talking and going through the catalog, I just do a very quick walkthrough of the catalog. So I'm just kind of touching on all of the different points of Scentsy. And I tell them when I start the party that I want them, that they've got a product list inside their folder. And in that product list, it truly is theirs. And what I encourage them to do is to take the pen that I give them, and I encourage them to begin circling the items that are interesting or that catch their eye. Or maybe it's something that I've just talked about in the catalog and they're like, oh, a diffuser. Okay, diffusers. I'm gonna circle a diffuser there.
Oh my gosh, Jacqui, you don't give them order forms?
This is their playground. Then after I kind of talk through everything and they've kind of gone through everything, that's when I bring up the testers, and it truly ends up becoming like this free-for-all, okay? Everybody like dives into the tester baskets and it's chaos. It's really fun chaos, but it's chaos. I let everybody play, I kind of interact with my guests, and then what I do is I tell everybody, okay, here's the deal. When you are ready, when you feel that you've got the items that you want to go ahead and purchase tonight ready, bring me up your list. What I do is I kind of set myself up in like a main station at the home party. And I actually have all the order forms, because in their folders, I don't give them order forms. Like I said, I just give them a product list, a pen, flyers, and maybe a scent sample or two, something like that, right? They're circling all of the items that they like or want. And again, I encourage them to go through and do the same thing with the scents. Remember, our scents are listed on the product sheets, guys. So even if it's a little check mark, however they kind of want to distinguish it, I encourage them to do that as they're sniffing through the scents. Okay, when you are done, bring it up to me and let's chat. Then I have a super personalized chat session with every single guest.
That's right, a chat session.
The chat session is specifically designed for lots of different reasons for me. For one, so I can actually sit down and talk with the customer, right? If it's somebody I don't know, if it's somebody that my host invited that I have never met, then of course I want to start a little bit of a relationship, right? So it gives me that opportunity. Second, it allows me to look at all of the different things that they have circled on their list. And again, remember, I'm encouraging them. If it's something that you want to buy, I want you to circle it. If it's something you're even remotely like, oh, that's a wish list, I'd love to be able to get like this one, this one, this one, and this one, still circle all of those things, right? I encourage them, because this is something they're going to take home with them too, okay? They're going to be taking this home. This is their product list. So they're going to bring it up to me. We're going to have our personalized chat. We're going to go through and I'm going to say, let me see your sheet. Let's see all that you've circled. And that is when, remember, I have the teacher copy, right? I have the catalog. And so the catalog that I keep with me at the home parties, it's already tabbed out, but I will already have that bundle and save area ready to go. Now, a couple of years back, I actually would take these every time I got a catalog, and I would take them up to my local UPS, and I would just have this laminated, like, so it was in one sheet, right? And then on the other side, and this was before they did it for us, but the fragrance grid that showed like everything that the scents come in. And then I would do that on the other side. So that was really truly my good cheat sheet. That was my, little teacher copy to have. So I encourage you guys, if you do a lot of home parties, or if you think that you will be, you're not doing them yet, but you will be, to go ahead and maybe do that. But this way, as I'm looking at all the things that they've circled, scents included, night lights, body care, whatever it is that they've circled, I'm kind of doing a quick run through of my bundle and saves and going, I see that you have circled a night light, and you've got about 6 different scents here, right? Or maybe 5 scents that you've circled. You know what? I have a really great way for you to be able to save money. That's when I can pull out that laminated or even just the catalog itself and go, hey, we've got some Scentsy systems. We've got the perfect Scentsy. I can bundle these up for you and save you some money. Do you want to save some money today? What do you think their answer is? What I tend to find by doing that little chat session, that one-on-one session with every single customer, is not only am I showing them ways to save money, which, hey, everybody's a fan of that, right? But I'm saving them money. I'm establishing some kind of a connection or a relationship, getting to know them just a little bit. And then I'm the one who's actually got the order form, right? So as I'm talking to them, I am making sure that everything is completed at the top of the order form, right? Because that's what I really want. Because in order for me to follow up, which we're going to talk about next week, I then have everything I need. I have their name, their address, their phone number, and then I will write a T and circle it if they prefer, because I will always ask them, do you prefer text or do you prefer phone calls? Me, I'm a texter. So if somebody is going to call me to follow up, they're probably going to get my voicemail, and then I'll end up calling them back later on. If they text me, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to reply right away. So I'm the one getting all that information. I'm making sure that I'm asking them their preferred method of contact. I'm making sure that the order form is legible. And I'm making sure that everything is completed in their order, right? So if they've given me a certain scent, I'm making sure that it does come in the bar form, or if they want it in a scent circle, that it does come in a scent circle, things like that, right? I'm kind of doing that spot check. They, even after I've filled out my order form, I've got my copy, I send this home with them and I tell them, now remember, everything else that you circled that we didn't order today, because as we ordered, I X'd it off, right? Then they have this for future reference. So when I go to follow up, which we're gonna talk about next week, I tell them, hang on to this, put it in your purse, take a picture of it, whatever you need to do. Just make sure you save it in some way. That way, when you're ready to reorder, you remember which scents you liked, okay? And if you ever need to re-smell, just holler at me. I'll be more than happy to send you some samples or bring by the testers, blah, blah, blah. It really helps your customer service point of view, and it really truly helps building that relationship with your customers. And honestly, in the end, it's really helping you as the consultant. Because again, you've got the information you need for your follow-up for after the order, after the party, way after the party even, okay? Because this may not be the only encounter you ever have with this guest. They may end up in a year, 2 years. I've had it happen where they end up joining my team, okay? So you want to make sure you're establishing that, and that is just a really simple way, right? So there you go. That is my honest to goodness best tip for the home parties. I have the best success. I have a better accuracy when I'm actually going back and inputting the orders, because again, I'm not having to guess and try and read somebody's handwriting or figure out, you know, this scent here, the Christmas cottage, does that mean they wanted it in the scent circle or the room spray? I can't tell which one they, Again, from somebody who doesn't do a whole lot of home parties, but trust me, I keep these tips and ideas because when I do begin to do more home parties, I'm gonna be using this method, and I also help out my team members when they're asking for tips. This is how I direct them to do it. Simply because it's been, over the years, the best and most efficient way I have found to get it done.
And in the end, isn't that what it's all about?
Doing the parties, making the sales, building the relationships, completing your follow-ups, and repeating the circle. That's the circle of Scentsy life. You've completed the Scentsy life circle, okay? That's it. You find a method that works and you repeat. And you repeat, and you repeat every single month. And before long, you're gonna have a great customer base. You're gonna have fantastic customer service relationships because again, you're taking time to get to know these people little by little by little, okay? Every encounter that you have with these customers is just building upon what you've already started.
What did we talk about for next week?
I know you remember, I don't even have to remind you. Next week is all about follow-up, so make sure you're subscribed. Share this video if you found it helpful. Sharing the Scentsy love is always a good thing to do. Be a good Scentsy person. Have a great week, and until next week, peace, love, happiness. Bye.